Okay. All right, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. You know, I have to tell you something that's amazing. We uploaded the Shir yesterday. We have over 4,000 listeners yesterday.
Wow.
Within 12 hours. Within 12 hours. I would venture to say that our class has better coverage than anyone else's class out there right now. Nobody gets 4,000 views in 12 hours. Nobody. Baruch Hashem. Go Reb Nassim.
You know why?
Go Reb Nassim.
Hashem.
It's all Reb Nassim. Baruch Hashem, the Rebbe. It's the koyach of the Rebbe. Yeah, okay. Baruch Hashem. Okay. So here we go. So we were learning. So everyone, we're in Likutey Halachos Tefillin. Okay. And we're in Halacha Hey. Today we're going to learn Mem Aleph 41. Okay, 41. So we were learning this whole idea yesterday of the Mabarata Machpelah, Kiryat Arba. Remember that we were learning this beautiful concept. We're learning the concept about Avraham Avinu. He has Emunah, right? And through Emunah you can pass through anything in the world, right? It's all with Emunah. You need Emunah. So you know how Reb Nassim does. So the Reb Nassim says, okay, now that we were talking about that, all right, now that we were talking about this idea of the tefillin, that they're emunah, right? In other words, think about it. We put on these boxes, right? We strap them on. It's not, doesn't seem like something like, why would I want to wear this? We have emunah, that's why we wear them, right? I mean, it's not a fashion. It's not something we understand that these tefillin, these boxes are something very precious, very special. Right, and because of that, we're wearing them because we have emunah, right? That's the underlying reason why we wear our tefillin, right? And other people, they don't. Unfortunately, they don't because they don't see that they don't relate to it. They can't understand the beauty in the tefillin. They don't understand the beauty in the mitzvah. So that's why we had over 100 classes already just to understand tefillin, right? We're trying to understand what are these boxes. What are they? So now today we're going to learn a little bit about the actual box itself.
Oh boy. Okay,
today we're going to learn about the box itself. Okay, so here we go. Mem Aleph, with Siyata D'Shmaya, of course. Okay, very deep stuff. V'zeh b'chinas titoira shel tefillin. So there's something that's called the titoira shel tefillin. What is that? That's the bottom of the box. So we were talking about the tefillin, the rosh, right? It has 4 compartments in it, right? And it has the shin of 4 prongs, the shin of 3. And we were talking about the top of the tefillin. But now let's turn the tefillin. That's the part that relates to us, right? In other words, when you put on the tefillin, what part of the tefillin actually touches you? Not the top of the tefillin, right? The bottom of the tefillin, the tatah. Which is the cover, the bottom cover. You hear this? We're going to learn about the bottom cover. No one ever talks about that. No one. Oh, that just has to be there, right? That's well, you have to put a cover on it. So, okay, what's so special about it? Just the cover. No. Let's see. Perusha Lashon Gesher. Titoira is a Lashon of Gesher. This is this idea of the bottom part of the tefillin is like a bridge. A bridge. You know, we're going to learn these beautiful words. Rabbi Nachman says that life is like a narrow bridge, right? And the main thing is to pass through it and not be scared at all, right? Gesher tsar miyoid. V'oyikar lo lefachet klal. The main thing is never to be scared. Just go through life like that. Now let's see, why is this a bridge? And let's try to understand this. Umisham yotzei Mabarata. And from the tatar, from the bottom, comes out the Mabarata. We said, what was the Mabarata? You know, on the box, you have that little space that the ritzua, the strap, goes through. Right? Mm-hmm. Well, of course, but well, you have to have a space, or how's the ritzua going to connect to it, right? No, but we learned special things about that, right? What did we learn about the ritzua? We learned about the ritzuas, they are long, right? And we have to have in life, we have to go through life with erech hapayim. We have to be slow, we have to take things easy. We have to understand it's all me'ez Hashem. Take it easy. Erech hapayim, that's such an important thing, right? When someone says something to you, when you see something, when you hear something, stop for a second, think. think, Hashem, what do you want me to see in this? Hashem, what is it? That's Erech HaPayim. That's what we learn from the straps, that they're long. The straps are long. Remember we learned that? Why are they long? Well, of course they're long because I have to get them around my arm 7 times. No, but it's long to teach you. While you're wrapping it, remember, you're trying to get more Erech HaPayim. And then we said when we're wrapping it on the arm is the side of Gevura, right? So I take the straps of the Ritzuas, right, with the Erech HaPayim, and I kind of put the Gevura in check. I'm strapping it down. I don't let it run rampant. I don't let the Gevura, I don't let that din, I don't let that judgment run rampant. I kind of hold it back with the straps. You ever hear these ideas? No? Amazing ideas. Yeah, amazing ideas, right? Reb Nosson.
Never thought of it.
Yeah, this is Reb Nosson, right? Well, of course, I have to get them on my arm. That's why I have to put it 7. No, but why are we doing that?
It's for long life.
Long life. Yeah, we learned. Yeah, because we Erech HaPayim, right? Erech HaPayim. We said that's the same idea. That's the same thing of lengthening our time, right? Taking our time and making something of our time, right? That's the concept that we were learned about, right? In other words, every moment that you think of Hashem, every moment in the day that you put towards service of God, you're making that moment an eternal moment. You're taking that time that could have just been fleeting, and now you're lengthening that time. You're making that time count. Anytime you do anything, any good word, any machshava dibra maisa, anytime you have a good thought, anytime you have a good you have a good word, you do something good for somebody. These are all mitzvahs. These are all time that we're lengthening our time. We're making it count. We're making it eternal. Okay.
There's something that you said yesterday, and I don't know if we said it on here or not.
Yeah.
But it really hit me as an amazing idea, concept, that all you have to do is if you're in a space and you need to make a decision and you're going to do something, will this make Hashem happy, or will this make Hashem sad?
Will Hashem be proud of me, or is Hashem going to be disappointed in me with this?
And I was using that all day yesterday, making decisions about what I was going to do, and it was just absolutely amazing. So.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. You see, it's a good idea, right? It's a very important concept. And then, but you need the Erech HaPayim. You know, if you don't stop,
right,
you can't do that. It's only if you stop. Stop, think, remember, right? Uncle Moshe had that song. Stop, think, remember. Right? Remember that song, right? Stop, think, remember. Right? That's what he's talking about. Stop, think, remember. Stop, take it easy, think. Now I can remember what I'm supposed to remember. Oh, and then I can get through it. It's not this guy that got me upset. Hashem told this guy to do this.
Right.
So why am I going to be angry at this guy? Why him? Hashem told him to do it. Because I had to hear that. Why did he have to be the guy to do that? I don't know. Who cares? That's not important. But Hashem wanted me to hear that. So now how do I deal with it? And I say, wow, Hashem, I got that message. I understand, Hashem. Okay, I got to make a rectification on something. That's why I had to hear that.
The diagnosis is difficult.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so that's the Mabarata, okay? Ha'ikar ma manoach ala guf. That's the part that we place on our body. That's what actually sits on our flesh, right? That's the part of the tefillin, the bottom of the tefillin actually is connected to us. Ki me'at tefillin, because from the tefillin themselves, right? We put inside them those beautiful parshias, right? Those beautiful scrolls, right? The beautiful scrolls with the beautiful letters and the psukim and the word, so beautiful. But we put them inside, right? We said, and you know why we'd have to go inside, Baruch? Because it's so much light. It's so blinding, that light. It has to be put inside. But not only put inside, we have to make sure we tie up the boxes because we don't want the light to escape. It's in there. But I can gain from that light through the tator that sits on my arm, that sits on my head. It can penetrate. It penetrates through the bottom to me. Isn't that amazing? It gets filtered through so that way I can gain something from that. Fascinating concept. Ve'ein noigen Ba'or harosh v'ayad. But the parshas don't touch our hands, our arms, our head, right? They don't. We're focusing now. Now, what do we have? What's our physical contact with the tefillin, right? We have a contact with the tefillin, the part that sits on our arm, the part that sits on our head. Ki im hatato v'mabarata, only the tato and only the mabarata is related to us, touches us. The external parts, not the internal. The internal parts are inside. The same way we have our internal parts that are inside of us, we hope that they stay inside of us, right? Right? And that's where we can function well. So the tefillin is the same thing. They have to be, the parashas have to be inside, and then we can relate to them through the tato that has, we can have physical contact with the tefillin that can benefit us spiritually by the light that's in the parashas. But the parashas we don't touch, right? Okay, so far so good? Okay. Because that's the main thing that we have to accept from the tefillin, that we can relate to from the tefillin. And that's how I can go through life. I can go through my life. I can go through in a successful way. Bisholem. I can have peace with anything that's going on in my life. I can have peace with whatever. I can have turmoil going on in my life, but I can go through it in a peaceful way. To somebody else, it may look like I'm going through the greatest turmoil, but the person going through it can be very tranquil because he understands there's a purpose for it. You understand? The same way when if we have to go to a dentist, I like to use that example, right? And you're going to the dentist, and it's very uncomfortable, right? It's a very uncomfortable. You hear that noise, right? That noise that can kill, right? Right? And then you feel that when they're drilling, you feel that stuff that he's drilling, and you feel it in your back. Come on, it's horrible, right? Horrible. Right? And then when he's trying to pull and he's yanking this and whatever they're doing there, right? But did you ever get upset at the dentist? Did you ever get upset at the dentist?
You're paying him.
Not only that, you're paying him a lot of money, right? No, you're paying him a lot of money. Yeah. So one second. So if I can understand that the dentist is only doing something good for me, and I understand it's going to be a little painful, but there's going to be a good benefit at the end. There's a prize at the end. Oh, wait a second. So then, if I can understand that with a dentist, how can I not understand that with Hashem? Hashem is meticulously arranging every aspect of my life, every moment of my life, meticulously arranging it for me. And He knows exactly what I need. And it's all about my bechira, my free choice. How am I going to deal with it? But when I understand, I have my tefillin, the tatos sitting on, and I have the benefit of the light, and I have the ritzuas, and I put them on, and I'm able to realize it's the erech hapayim. And then when I deal with whatever I'm dealing with, I understand it's you, HaKadosh Baruch. Oh, you're sending it to me because you're trying to help me. See, we look at it, we think that Hashem is just being mean. No, He's not being. He's trying to help me. He's trying to help us. Because He knows we need rectifications for all different things. We don't understand that. And that's why we keep saying it's so important that we always do tshuva. We learned yesterday tshuva ala tshuva, right? You have to do tshuva on the tshuva, right? Why? Because if you do tshuva, Hashem sends you less things, right? The more tshuva you do, the less problems you have to deal with, right? Because only the problems are coming to only make rectifications. But if you preempted it and you made the rectification before, so then Hashem takes the problem away. You understand? It's very simple to understand, but we have to internalize it, right? The concept is there. We understand it, but we have to just work on internalizing that anything that goes wrong in my life is only there to help me, it's not there to hurt me. The same way when I go to the doctor or the dentist or whatever I'm going through, it doesn't matter. They're helping me. So too, as of course, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there help me. And that's how you can go through anything in life, b'shalom. You can be tranquil about it. You can go through all of the obstacles of life. All right? All the obstacles. And all the confusion. right? We live in a very, very confused world, right? Everything's upside. Wow. But we learned about it. It's all Amalek, and he's trying to do his thing, and we have our Bechira, and we have to just see through it, and we just find the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and that's what we have to do. That's our job. To connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in truth, to really understand that it's all Me'ez Hashem. It's really only truthful, really only HaKadosh Baruch Hu's truth. It's fascinating. My wife told me yesterday she was on a flight. She came back yesterday, and she was on a flight, and she was sitting next to a woman that was a secular lady from Tel Aviv. So the lady was telling her that she was. Wait, listen to this. This is fascinating. I never heard this angle before. This is fascinating. What I'm going to tell you. Okay. So the lady was telling her that she's very bothered by the fact that there's the Chabad guys that go around and they ask people to put on tefillin. Why are they doing that? Why do they have to do that? So my wife said because maybe people want to put on tefillin. Yeah, but she says, do you know how we feel when one of our children become religious? Do you know how we feel? We feel that they betrayed us. You hear this? They betrayed us. They betrayed because they became religious. So my wife said, well, that's the same way what we feel when a child goes off the derech. So we feel that child betrayed us, right? But they feel it the same.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I never heard that angle before. Did you? Did you ever hear something like that?
Look, I was asked. I used to bring my own food years, I'm talking about 30 years or 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Once I became, Shomer Shabbat and with kashrut to family, I still wanted to get together.
Yeah. That's very important. Very important.
So I would bring what I needed.
You brought your own food, yeah.
Yeah, because we wanted to be with
but your family respected you, right? And you influenced a few people. Yeah.
I got phone calls. I remember it. I'll never forget this.
Yeah.
Somebody was not, one of the new baby wasn't well. My aunt called me up, said, can you talk to your God? I said, well, my God's your God, but sure. And do a bracha at the Torah. So,
Yeah.
And it's looked at that way, I get a phone call about it.
No, but again, okay, but that's different than this other lady. That's very different because she believed, she didn't have a connection to it, but she believed there's something with the Torah. She believed there's something with God. She didn't feel connected to God.
Right.
But this is what we'd explain here. This lady is the other way around. They feel betrayed if someone takes on Torah mitzvahs. Fascinating.
I wonder.
We have to pray for these people, really. We have to pray for these people.
I wonder if she, they say there's no atheists in the foxhole. I wonder what happens when she's in the foxhole. I just wonder if she doesn't.
No. So my wife was talking to her. Wait a second. Okay, now that okay. So then she asked her. So what's your view on this? The political things here. With the, no. Wait a second. Wait a second. The judicial reform.
Yeah. Right.
The reform. So she said, that we were against it. And she said that the fact that Netanyahu did win, he won fair and square. She was masking to that. Yeah. It wasn't like in America with Trump and this and that, all of that nonsense, right? They went, and the reform went through 100% legally through the Knesset. So we lost. But she said we only lost because really at the time of the election, we didn't take the election seriously, so we didn't really go out to vote. Yeah. Okay. No. Wait. Hold on. So then my wife said, "But what do you think about the fact that that these pilots and these soldiers and the high military ranking officers say that they won't come into work because of this?" She says, "Let me tell you something. My father is one of the pilots." She said, "My father's one of the pilots, and he's against this." But she says, I promise you. She told my wife, I promise you, if anything would ever happen, he's going to get into the cockpit of that plane no matter what he said. No matter what he said, he's going to be in the cockpit of that plane and he's going to go take care of what he has to take care of. And that's every Jew's going to do that. That's the Pintel Jew in every Jew. Like, that's the Pintel Jew in every Jew. It's such a the little point, that little point in the special point in the Jew, right? That was such a beautiful thing. Right? That's why I wanted to share this with you.
That's beautiful.
Right? But he'll go. He'll go. And every Jew, no matter what, they can be picketing in this. And if God forbid something happened and a Haredi person, they would give their life for the Haredi person. Right? It's just all external. It's all external, right? It's all external. It's the same idea that the Rambam says, that if a person's supposed to, the Bezdin says that he's supposed to give a get to his wife, right? Right? If that's whatever the situation was, the Bezdin Paskin, he has to give a get to the wife. And he doesn't want to give the get to the wife. So we know that one of the things is, when you give the get, right, if you give a get to a lady, so you have to give it willingly. Right? If you don't give it willingly, if you give it begrudgingly, it doesn't really count. So but wait a second, but the law is you can beat the person until he says, right, Sani. But wait a second, if I beat him and he said I want to do it, does he really want to do it? Or is he only saying I want to do it because he doesn't want to get more of a beating? So the Rambam says an amazing thing. That really in the heart of hearts, in the truth of truths, he really does want to give the get. It's only the external stuff that's there. That external stuff that's telling him not to. So when you beat him a little bit, you knock off that external stuff, and what he says, he actually says, he means it, because that's the real person talking. Not the noise of the outside. You really get to the real person. And that's really with all these guys. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Really, they're good people. They're all good people. They're all Yidden. They're all good people. I mean, she said that, my father and his friends, they fought for the country. They helped build up the country. What do you think? They're not going to help the country. They're not going to help their their brethren. I may not agree with what my brother's doing, the same way we're not agreeing with, let's say, what they're doing.
Sure.
But we're still all Jews, and they'll all come and we'll all come together. And it's so unbelievable if we would only learn to come together in peace. Not only when there's strife and there's turmoil and there's we have problems. That brings us together. But okay, that's part of the goals that we're in, and that's why we have to pray to Hashem. All right, anyway. Ki tetoira shel tefillin shu bechinas gesher misham yotzei mabarata. So again, from the bottom of the tefillin, right, that's where the Mabarata comes, to that bridge. The bridge that the Ritzua can go through. That's the Mabarata, right? That's where we could pass the tefillin through the head, right? You have that little bridge, right? And the Ritzua goes through, so you can put it onto your head, right?
The strap.
Right, the way the strap goes through the bias. That's called the Mabarata.
Okay.
That's the Mabarata. That's the little tunnel.
Yeah.
It's a little tunnel, right? It's a little tunnel that the strap goes through. No, so anyone would say, well, hey, well, I have to get the strap on there. How am I going to connect it? Yeah, okay, sure, that's true. You're going to have to connect. But wait, how does that help me? How does that help me? Oh, I understand. Oh, wait a second. That's going to teach me Erech HaPayim, right? In other words, we said that there's a right side and a left side, right? There's a right side and a left side, right? We have the Chesed and the Gevura. So with the Erech HaPayim, I can get through the Gevura to the Chesed to the Gevura. I can get through everything. It all works. Just I need the Erech HaPayim. I got to take things slow. I got to take it easy with things. Like you were saying, you have the kids over, right? So, you just have to take it easy. Let them do what they're going to do, right? Don't get angry about it. It doesn't help. Right? Let the kids be kids, right? That's it. That's all. That's what it's all about. Okay, so let's see now. So now where's Reb Nosson going? So Yaakov Avinu found himself in a very, very difficult situation, right? His brother was coming after him with 400 men, right? He had to get over the water, this Yabuk. He had to get over the Yabuk, right? Which he said is all the way up in the north, right? That's what, remember Yossi was here, he told us that's up in the north, right? Do you remember? He said, yeah, okay. And he needed to get them over the water, but how is he going to get them over the water? Right? It's water, it's deep. How is he going to get the kids, the women, these flock, over the water? How's he going to do that? So it says, Vayavor es mavar hayabak. He went over this mavar hayabak. Same Mabarata, mavar, he passed over, right? Hayabak. Now watch this. Vayavor es asher loy. Perish Rashi. What does Rashi say on those words? Right? What does Rashi say on those words? Asa atzma kigesher. He made himself like he was a bridge. And the people were able to walk over. He made a bridge. He turned himself into a bridge that everyone was able to pass over. Is that fascinating? We read the words, but let's think about it. Yaakov Avinu made himself into a bridge, and his family and his flock were able to pass over the other side safely.
And that's what Rashi said.
Rashi says that. Rashi says that. Yeah. Right. That's a Rashi. Yeah. But based on Chazal. Rashi didn't make that up.
No.
That's based on Chazal. Sure. All right. Okay. Now, V'zeh bechinas Mabarata v'tatura shel tefillin. This is what it means when we have on the tefillin this idea, the Mabarata and the tatura, the bottom and that little bridge, the little bridge that we can get over. Ki mava yabak zeh bechinas Mabarata. The yava yabak is that we learned this before. Rav Nasser is just reviewing it. This idea of the mava yabak is the Mabarata. We learned that before. Okay, ba'arichas. We spend a lot of time in that. It's referring to the Shemus HaKadoshim. Okay, Erech HaPayim, right? Vayavar Hashem al Panav Vayikra. The same idea. Vayavar Hashem al Panav Vayikra. Vayavar. Again, Erech HaPayim. The same idea. It's all the same concept. Vayavar es Asher Loi. Also, Atzmai Kigesha. Yaakov Avinu was able to take everything over of his, because he made himself like a bridge. But again, let's think about it. Yaakov Avinu was in a very difficult situation, right? Here he knows he worked so hard, right? He worked so many years. How many years did he work for Lavan? 21 years, right? Long time. He worked a long time. 7 years, and he stayed longer, again, because he wanted to get the flock, right? He was there a long time, right? Building his family, building his wealth, right? And now he stands at a time where he may lose everything, right? Can you find that to be a really dismal situation?
Yeah.
He found himself in, right? 400 men, and what did he have? He had a couple of kids, and he had the women, and he had some animals. What did he have? He had 400 armed men coming after him. But think about it, right? Was that a difficult, dire situation for him? But what does Yaakov Avinu do? He makes himself like a gesher. Everyone go over to the other side. And then what does Yaakov Avinu do? What does he do? He goes back. Why did he go back? Do you remember?
He left a couple of possessions.
His little jars, the
Right.
pachim ketanim.
Ten.
The pachim ketanim. He left those pachim ketanim, those little jars, right? We said that those little jars, what's that? That's the Nes Chanukah, right?
Yeah, it was the oil for Hanukkah.
That was the oil. It was munach b'choismei shel kayin gadol. Who was the kayin gadol? Malki Tzedek. Malki Tzedek was the kayin gadol. He was the kayin, right? He was the kayin, and he stamped it. It would say it was munach b'choismei shel. It was stamped with the kayin. That was Malki. It's unbelievable, right? And that's what they found in the Beis Hamikdash. The
Malchut Tzedek was Shem, right?
Yes,
Right.
yes. Yeah, you see that? It's all coming around, huh? Unbelievable. Okay, yeah, you can go through everything b'shol. Now, let's go back. Yaakov, hu bechinas emes. Why? Because Yaakov Avinu is emes. We just said in the davening, in the Volatzin, he said it so quick today, right?
Yeah.
Very fast, right? He was like a train, right? Yeah, all right. Well, we have to talk to him. He was going like an express train. Zoom.
A bullet train.
We didn't have to say Tachnat. He could have gave us a couple more minutes, All right, anyway. But we said these words. Quickly, right? Ki Yaakov hu bechinas emes. Titen emes liYaakov. Remember we said those words today? Did you say those words? Titen emes liYaakov. He was given emes. Chesed l'Avram, right? Titen emes liYaakov. Let's see what that is. Okay, Shu bechinas tefillin kamavoy b'divrei Rabbeinu Zal. The Rabbi Nachman spoke about this in lesson 47 in Likutey Maran. If you want to see more about this, you can look up lesson 47. Ki ikar tefillin heim al yedei bechinas emuna. Like we started up by saying, the whole idea that tefillin is emuna. So in life, you need to have two aspects. You need to have emes v'emuna, right? If you have emes, like we say in the Maya, right? Emes v'emuna, right? You have emes v'emuna. If you have emes, truth, you can have emuna. You can't have emuna without truth, right? Truth leads you to emuna. Right, because the chaisma shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the stamp, the signature of Hashem is emes. Remember we learned that, right? Remember emes. Why emes? Yeah. Why we say emes? Remember why we said it's emes? Because of the way the letters are made up. Remember? Mm-hmm. We said the aleph stands. It has 2 feet, right on the bottom. It has 2 feet, right? It goes down on one side, the other side comes down. And then you have the mem, right? The mem. He's very good, right? He has a big, nice, flat foot on the bottom, right? He stands strong, right? The mem stands good, right? What about the tough? He has 2 feet also, right? Both feet touch the ground, right? So emes stands. Emes is strong. Let's look at the word sheker, which is the opposite of emes. The shin. What shape is the shin? Like a V. The shin is like a V. It comes in like a V, right? It breaks down into 2, and then there's a center point, like a V. A V, does a V stand strong?
Yeah.
It does. Why? A V is only 1 foot.
It's sitting on a point.
Sitting on a point, right? So that could tip over, right?
Right.
And what's the next letter? What's the next letter in sheker? Kuf. A kuf. Does a kuf have it's only also 1 foot, right?
Standing on 1 foot.
1 foot. Only stands on 1 foot. What about the reish?
Same thing.
He only has 1 foot, right? Reish, so sheker falls, right? But emes stands. Emes stands. That's the chaisim from Hashem. The chasim of Hashem is emes, right? Because it stands. Truth stands. And if you have truth, you can have emuna. Without truth, you can't have emuna. You understand that? Okay. Shehi bechinas emes, bechinas tzedek kad is chabras emes vis avdis emuna. When a person had this, he's bringing it down from the Zayah, that right through emes you can make yourself emuna. You can acquire emuna through emes.
What do you mean by that?
If you have truth, you can believe in God, because God's signature is truth. So if you want to connect to God, you need truth. If you have truth, then you can believe in God.
Define truth.
Yes.
Emet.
Yes.
Know?
Yes.
What are we talking about? That truth. Truth of.
Truth. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The truth is knowing that it's all hashgacha pratis.
Okay.
Knowing everything in my life is all hashgacha pratis. That's the truth.
That it all comes.
From God.
And He's involved.
He's involved.
Intricately
involved. Not just involved.
Right.
Very, every nuance, every exact thing. That's emes. Knowing that that's the truth. And then I can have emunah believing it. But I need to know the principle that it's all you, Hashem. Choynein hadas. We say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, give me the das. What's the das? To know it's all you, Hashem. Everything in my life is you.
So don't you have to have emunah before you can have truth?
You what?
It seems like it would be the opposite then. You'd have to have emunah before you could have truth. Because if I have
you have to know the truth so you can start to believe. If you don't know the truth, you don't know what to believe in.
But if the truth is about believing everything is from God,
yeah,
then that's a sign that I have emunah.
But you're saying they're really one of the same. But if you don't have emes in your life, if you don't have emes in your life, you're not going to have the emunah.
I think it's both. You're right it's all right. If it all, you have to have, somehow you have to connect the truth and believe. It's not like you do this and you gain this. It goes both. It goes.
Yeah, they're hand in
together.
hand. They're hand in
I think
hand.
we're
They are
talking
hand in
about
hand.
concepts and midot and things.
Yes. They're abstract. But here we're learning a basic thing. You have to have emes in your life. What you say is truthful. What you believe is truthful. You have to have a good foundation of truth. Then with that, you know what to believe in. If you don't have truth in your life, you don't know what to believe in. Right? People believe in all kind of other things. They believe in anything, right? People believe that anything that people do, they believe that they're doing it for a purpose, whether it's right or wrong. But if you have the emes, you'll be doing the right thing.
So, and I'm really trying to understand because it keeps coming back that because for me, if I do the right thing, like the mitzvot,
Yes.
but I don't necessarily know that they're truth. I didn't know they were truth until I really believed in God. And so, but then the emunah is what allowed me to then.
But the truth is knowing that God is one. And God gave me the Torah. That's the truth. He gave me the Torah, and I have to keep the Torah. Then I could start to believe. Once I have my foundation, I need my foundation. Then you can build your emunah on a foundation, right? If you want to build a building, right? You want to build a 100-story building. Could you build a 100-story at first? It won't work. You build the foundation, and you can build the first floor deep down, right? And the foundation, and it has to be deep. It has to be very, very deep. The emunah has to be very, very deep. And we learned that because it's in the parsha, right? Ki ha'adam hu eitz hasod. Right? Man is like the tree of the field. Why is man like the tree of the field? So I'll tell you, there are different kinds of trees, right? Some trees are top-rooted trees, right? Like pine trees, right? All different kind of pines. If you ever were walking around an area where there are pine trees, it's very uncomfortable to walk because the roots are all on the ground. You ever do that? You ever see that? You ever experience that?
I never thought of it.
No. But when you're walking around trees,
Yeah.
right? So sometimes there are the roots sticking up in the
Yeah.
ground, right? You didn't think about that, right? But then certain trees, like an oak tree or a maple tree, you don't see the roots. You don't see the roots. The roots go deep. They go deep. Those trees, when there's a big storm, they stand. Mm-hmm. The deep-rooted trees stand. The top-rooted trees, they fall. Right? When the earth gets too wet, right? If the earth gets too wet, there's a big wind. So all the pine trees always fall down. Why do they fall down? Because they're top-rooted. They don't have a good foundation.
After that big hurricane in your
Sandy, yeah.
They saw some trees went down.
Yeah.
Some trees stood up, and they figured out why.
Yeah. Deep roots and top roots.
Well, it had to do with artificial watering. The ones that were artificially watered, their roots didn't go down deeply.
Deeply.
Because they didn't have to. They got their water every day, up on the top, but they blew down.
Well, yeah, but it was that's true. But the premise is ki adam oetz hasader really is an understanding. If we have deep roots, if our emes is truly and it's rooted, deep rooted, so then I can work on my emunah. When the winds come. When the winds of the world come, I can weather them.
Right.
And I'm not going to fall. I'm not going to fall. That's emes. I need my emes. Is that my roots. Then I can grow. And then I can have my emunah. Okay? All right, based on what Rav Nassan's teaching us today, Rav Nassan brings down from Likutey Moharan, lesson 7, letter 2 in Likutey Moharan. You could look that up if you want to understand more about that. All right? Now, v'zeh b'chinas what?
No, I'm looking for it in here.
V'zeh b'chinas ma shehevi Rabbeinu b'Torah shel arichas hapayim. And this we learned a lot about. That Rabbi Nachman brought in the lesson on Erech HaPayim, which was lesson 159. Okay? B'divrei Rabbi Seinazal. Shamru ala pasuk vayikad arza. So Moshe Rabbeinu, right, it's Gemara in Sanhedrin, on Kuf Yud Aleph, Amid Aleph, okay, that Moshe Rabbeinu came and he was walking with his sheep, right? He was working with Yisro, right? Moshe Rabbeinu was with Yisro, right? Moshe Rabbeinu was with Yisro. And he was walking the sheep, right? And then he saw something in the far, right? He saw something. What did he see? He saw there was a tree that was burning, but it wasn't Einei Ukal, right? Right? There was a tree that was burning, but Einei Ukal wasn't being consumed. And he said, what is this? He never saw something like that. How could there be a tree that's burning that's not being consumed? So Vayikar Arza, so he bowed down. He bowed down, he prostrated himself in that place. Mara, what did he see? Erech Apayim Ra. He saw this idea of Erech Apayim, slow to anger. In other words, the tree was burning, but it wasn't being consumed. That means when I go through something in my life, I have a situation, I don't have to be consumed by it. I can deal with it. I don't need to be consumed by the situation in my life. I don't need to let it take over my life. That's our Moshe Rabbeinu seeing the tree that's not being consumed. Let me not be consumed. But v'chala emes ra, and the other one is a machlokes. The Gemara brings down. One says he saw erech apayim. The other one says he saw emes. He saw truth. There's no argument. Wait a minute, there's no argument. Hold on, wait a second. One is saying he saw Erech Apayim, and one is saying that he saw Emes. This is what we were just discussing a moment ago, right? Emuna and Emes. Emes, Emuna. So you were saying that you really need one and the other one together, right? They have to be together. There's no argument. Right? The one says he saw Erech Apayim. The other one says he saw truth. Loi pligi, they're not arguing. Why aren't they arguing? Rabbi, he's going to explain now. Ki emes emuna kichada chashvi. Because emes and emuna is really one. It's considered one. You can't separate them. Did I say that right? You agree with that? You agree with that? Okay. Shal yedei midas, right through this you can have emuna. Through emes you can have emuna. But again, if you don't have emes, if you don't have emuna, you can't have emes. And if you don't have emes, you can't have emuna. So in other words, one is interdependent on the other one. You follow?
Yeah.
It's an amazing concept. V'zeh bechinas ha'titara shel tefillin shehu bechinas gesher. And that's the emes. The meat of emes is the titara, this bottom part of the tefillin. That's like the bridge. The Yaakov Avinu was Mavar HaYabak. He went over the Yabak. He went over like a bridge. Okay, Ki Ika HaGesher La'avar Al Bazel Olam Hu Emes. Because go through this world is to know the truth. These are the most famous words. Sha'adam Tzarech La'avar Bazel Olam Al Gesher Tzar Va'ika Shelo Yisvach Ikal. Remember, you know that song? Do you know the song?
I'm not sure what it is.
Kol olam kuloi geshet tzar me'od, geshet tzar me'od, geshet tzar me'od. Kol olam kuloi geshet tzar me'od, geshet tzar me'od. V'ha'ikar, loi lefached, V'ha'ikar, lo lefached. These are words we're learning of Rabbi Nachman here. I like that. That song's words of Rabbi Nachman. The merit to go through the bridge of this world. Who al yedei bechinas hagesher shel tefillin? That's the gesher, the tatar field of the tefillin. That bottom part of the tefillin. It can help me get through my life, get through the narrow bridges of the world, the constricted parts of my life, constricted situations I find. I can get through with the tatar, the tefillin, the gesher. It'll help me get through it. Fascinating. What do you think of this? This is amazing stuff.
Yeah, I never put all this together.
Wow,
you
that's
know?
And I'm sitting here wondering why you don't wear tefillin all day long.
Shua yedei bechinas hagesher shel tefillin shei bechinas emes, because the tefillin are truth. K'may shaymer ma'olam, she'im emes yichaylim lavar kol olam. The world says, everyone agrees that if a person has in his life, emes, he can go through everything. If you know the truth, it's all Hashem. You can go through anything in life. You could pass it through very, very good. Any questions? Anyone have any questions? Any comments on this? Very deep stuff, very beautiful stuff. Right? We're talking about the bottom cover of the tefillin. Look what you're learning from here, right? Right? No one ever pays attention to that. It's not painted, right? It's not painted. They don't make it black, right?
No.
It was like it's unfinished. You don't see it, so why should I bother finishing it, right? Right? And when they put the sheetrock on, they don't paint the bottom of the sheetrock, right, and put it on the wall, right? It's not painted. It's sticking on the wall, right? You paint the outside. No one pays attention to the back of the sheetrock, right? Right? Over here, we're paying a lot of attention to the bottom of the tefillin. Wow. It's like a bridge. That's the Gesher Tzar Miyoid. But the main thing is I don't have to be scared. Why don't I have to be scared? Because I know I'm with Hashem. And if I know I'm with Hashem, why should I be scared? Hashem's with me. Right? Hashem is always with me.
It's what the Baal Shem Tov taught all the time.
And who is Rabbi Nachman, the grandson of Rabbi Nachman, the Baal Shem
Anything
Tov?
you have to fear is HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
That's it, the Yiras Hashem. That's what it's all about. If you have Yiras Hashem, you don't have to fear anything else in the world. I think we'll stop over here for today, okay? Do you want to say anything? Any other comments, questions before we stop?
No, I'm good.
Okay, very good. Shkoyach, everybody.